Right, hello.
Just waiting for CJ. That's no worries. Oh dear.
You right?
Yeah. Yeah. Same shit, different day.
Fair.
No, it's been alright actually. Just been plowing on. I had a fair amount of
Oh,
printing
it's
to do.
we're live, by the way, with you and me.
Oh, are we? Oh,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Hello and welcome to another Guardian show. I have no idea what episode this is. 8?
42.
42. CJ, any offers?
What, the number of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
666.
666. Excellent.
Been going for a while.
Yeah. We are on show number. I probably should start numbering them so I know what episode we're on. But yeah, we are here again for another lot of run and chit chat. We've got a time top 5, and then these two fine gentlemen have been to tournaments, so we will go through the tournaments in a quicker canter than me and Ali did previously. I know tournament reviews can get slow and laborious, but yeah, no,
Try and avoid that.
yeah, we'll try and get through them a bit quicker. So good evening to all in the chat. Let us know where you are, where you're watching, and we will crack on. So how are we, gents?
Doing all right.
Doing all right.
As CJ said before, still alive.
Still alive, indeed.
Yeah. No, I'm finally getting the hang of the new work. So it's like for the first couple of weeks, you're like the inconvenience. Like I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Finally, you're useful to people.
Yes,
So,
and you also get over that weariness of always being tired because you're always trying to take stuff in, so you're actually a little bit more useful as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what have we been up to for the last 2 weeks?
I went to the London Grand Tournament for 2 days, which meant that last weekend, as in 2 days ago, was the first time in about 5 weeks, first day in about 5 weeks where I didn't have to jump up and run somewhere. No, I'm having this weekend to do piss all.
Excellent.
Nice. Not bad.
Excellent. Giffen?
Last weekend, or on the Saturday, I was at the Stockport doubles at Element Games.
Nice.
And then I've been throwing together some list ideas. Yeah,
Have they got Helmingos in by any chance?
of course.
Of course. I did see you finally picked up the banner and the warhorn.
Yes, I now have my fourth Grimbold and my
What
first
have you,
Helmingus
I
horn and banner.
saw someone ask this on Facebook. What have you done with the other 3?
So the first one I sold.
So
So
okay.
the first one I bought the first one a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then before I came up with the brilliance of using Helmingers, I sold it at some point because I was playing Wargs and Elves. And then the second one is my actual Grimbold. And
Yeah.
the third one is for battle companies.
Okay.
And I've got a fourth one.
Put
Okay.
it on a horse.
Oh god. Good evening, Frederick.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you around. Where's Ali? We don't know. He just said he couldn't be here.
He said he couldn't make it. Dewey said, "What have you done?" And then we got no response. So
Yeah.
it's anyone's guess.
I'm guessing he's been slapped on the back of the wrist by the missus, and we can just make up absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
So
Every now and then we'll just turn and say, "What do you think, Ali?" And one of us will say dwarves, and then we'll carry on.
yes,
Grimhammers.
Grimhammers and dwarves. There we are, sorted. Ali is now
Eagles.
Ali is now in the room. Oh dear, what have I been up to for the last 2 weeks? Printing some more stuff. Whoa, wrong way. This printer is up and running now. And I've got I had quite a few test prints on it, but it's all good now, and we're getting there. I have done some more work on my cant, which has been pretty cool. David I completely agree. It is not acceptable. Please message Ali. Well, actually, whoever is in this and he's in our Discord, just tag Ali relentlessly and ask him where he is, because it'll be hilarious.
Unless he's got notifications on his phone turned on.
I can't remember. I think he does have it muted, but I don't know if he's got
Okay.
it muted like for general messages or just for
For everything.
yeah. So and then so I've been painting some more of my can. So I'm painting up I'm doing a single batch paint of it's something like 25 guys on foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like some of them being like on foot / on a chariot, because obviously I'm painting them separate at the moment. It includes, I want to say, 15 warriors on foot, maybe a few more. Then like 3 chieftains on foot, 3 charioteers, and 2 kings. Obviously, 1 chariot, one on foot. And then I've got 3 mounted chieftains. One's a convert. 2 of them are the actual kind of chieftain ones. And I have, what is it, like 14 riders? So yeah, one massive batch paint. So I've done all the cloth. Well, no, I've done the main cloth. I've done the red helmets and the red armor, and I'm just going around and doing the gold trim at them. So I'm getting there, slowly but surely.
Can't beat those red helmets. It's mostly beige, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of doing it a bit here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. So I'm not going for the traditional scheme as such. My blue's a lot lighter because it's quite a dark blue-black, isn't it? From memory, the can stuff. So mine's a lighter blue. And then, guessing you should know, aren't Josh's cans GW scheme?
Josh is listening.
Yeah, Josh.
I don't think I've ever played Josh's canned army in person as painted.
Have you played it like part built and everything?
I don't even know if I've played as canned. That's weird to say. But yeah, I like Michael's comment about what item would be a substitute for Ali.
Why?
Have I got news to you once?
I just,
a tub of lard. Cheesecake?
I've got an item.
Oh.
An axe. This is foam, and I got it for Christmas one year from one of my housemates at uni, and he was like, "Oh, this would be great," forgetting that the first thing I would do is unpackage it and smack him with it. And he was like, "I really didn't think this through." I was like, "No, you did not." So I spent the rest of the day just smacking him with it every now and then. Evening, Ewan.
Ewan. I did manage to get some while we're going on 3D printing and stuff. I have some models. So Sean Weimer is of the East Anglia fame.
Yes.
He's been doing a bit of sort of garage clear out. So here's one of his. I think these are hammering to begin with, and then there's like a dwarf on the base that the bat is just mauling to death.
Sweet.
This bat is about 5 miles off the board. Tree.
Line of sight is easy for that guy. I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah, be very easy to shoot, but then he can also see everything. So that's the trade-off. And then I'd sent to Sam Palmer, and who does Forge Master minis, because he prints off stuff from a load of people in
he's got licenses for
the Vale, Medbury,
that's the one I was thinking of,
and Xerluk, however you pronounce that, from Argentina.
Okay.
Yeah, you just sort of cough. But anyway, bought some goblins from him because famously Maury goblin pose is very limited. So I got the pack of 18 different 6 bow, 6 spiel and shear, or whatever. And I said to him, "Have you got any misprint stuff I could use for conversion purposes?" So I wasn't quite expecting the rest of this box, but I got a pair of eagles.
Nice.
So when you said misprints, he just did everything, not just goblin misprints.
Yeah, it's like, well, this one's missing the end of a wing and a bit off the claw, but I can fix that. And,
nice.
Bits there. What else we got in here? We've got a pair of misprinted spider queens.
Sweet.
Which I can now just repurpose as spiders.
Yeah.
Missing an arm, but they'd lost it in battle.
Yeah. Got pulled off.
I was going to say,
pulled off by a giant.
They've met Tariel. Their legs have been pulled off, guessing nothing more.
So, but this horse is called Mr. Stumpy because he's missing the front leg there.
You just reminded me of something hilarious. Like, not hobby related at all, but I was watching the Paralympics with my brother, and they went, up next is the equestrian. and he genuinely turned to me and went, "Are the horses disabled?"
Yeah, wonderful story if it was.
Just like baffling, absolutely baffling.
Yeah, and then finally we sort of chucked in alternative Khazad guards. Looks
Nice.
pretty cool there. A Knight of Minas Tirith, who I think has come out a bit too small, but that's fine. He can be Shorty, the Knight of Minas Tirith.
He could be Baragon's son.
Oh, nice. I like the
Yeah.
theme. Then a
Keep-
little
I know Captain wouldn't work because then he's better than Baragon.
Oh, that's one of the
Royal Guard thing.
Alright.
Royal
Yep.
Knight. What's its?
Yeah.
What-
Don't
whatever
worry
they
there.
call it.
Royal Knight, what's it?
He's
Got to paint it
armless.
orange now.
Got no arms with that, so I'm going to do something fun. And then one Gundabad spear with arm.
Excellent.
So yeah. So I want some more of the Gundabad stuff. Anyway, yeah. So it's like I just said, have you got any crap lying about that is misprinted? And he's just like, here, have all of this.
Yeah, excellent. So way to get rid of it. I built these guys the other day for a game on Sunday. Yeah, the two Wombats. I've got another 2 to build. They were really cool to build, and they look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like genuinely amazed with how they look, because I've not built these guys all the Crabline, which I presume are quite similar, like in build and whatever. And yeah, I'm really happy with how they look. They look so cool. Looking forward to painting them up. So yes. So yeah, I've been doing bits and pieces. So it isn't much.
Yeah.
I'm just reading some of the chat.
What's BSIME?
I think that's Steve Crow and Damien.
Yeah. We're not. We don't talk as much nonsense. We talk hobby nonsense, not just general shit.
Yeah. We don't actually do any hobbying at the same time. So
yes.
Because don't they paint?
Possibly. I just know Steve sits there and drinks beer. Sure, I think.
I see pictures of them saying what model is going to be painted in the stream, so I assume that they paint while they talk.
No, I think Steve paints after they talk, once he's recovered. Who knows? Who knows what?
Maybe Nathan in the chat.
Yeah. Nathan, Steve just sit there and get drunk, because I'm pretty sure he does. When I've seen it, he does. Which isn't very often. Right, we will go into our timed top 5.
Hell yeah.
As per usual, my books are in the garage. So we are off to a good start.
Oh, I just thought of one. Have we got a top 5? I don't know how well it work.
Yeah.
I guess we have some which are like not a lot of numbers, but top 5 scenarios.
As in match play scenarios?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's already in there.
Okay.
So,
sure.
Those top 5 narrative scenarios.
I don't know any narrative. I've never played a narrative scenario.
I've played through most of them, so yeah. Anyway.
Oh.
Right. Here we go.
Here goes the wheel. Is this all going to get the scenarios?
Yeah.
Wasn't it first week I called it as the strength 4 humans?
Yeah, god damn it.
See, that's pretty accurate, though. The last few streams he's drank less and painted more. It's very disconcerting.
So our top 5 for this week is top 5 infantry warriors overall. So this is regardless of any stat or anything, just what we think our best.
Easy number 1.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay,
God.
what are all the monsters?
I think we're going for like kind of infantry, not monsters.
So 25 mil bases.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that's
Wargs.
not a monster that's on 4. I guess Wargs can be included if you want.
Yeah, but they ain't going to be in the top 5. So, right. 5 minutes. Let's go. So, God, there's so many to
number
choose
1.
from. Helmingus is number 80. I don't know how many infantry warriors there are.
If you're listing from worst number 1, yeah.
I've got my number 1.
I feel like
instantly.
That's got to be 1 as well, just because the amount
God,
I use
there
them.
is so many. Right. Think.
I'm trying to think of it because it's got to be a combination of ones that you like using and ones that you like the models of,
And that are good in game.
and they're good. Yeah. Did we say warriors, not characters? I guess.
Yeah, infantry. Infantry warriors.
Okay.
This has been remarkably straightforward for me, to be honest with you.
Goblin number 1, Goblin number 2, Goblin number 3, and Goblin number 4.
So there's four very basic ones there.
Oh, think. Oh god, there are so many to choose from. This is difficult.
So I've got 5. I'm just trying to think of sculpts that I like.
Ooh.
To be honest, I don't think I'm playing in the spirit of how you intended this round, but that will make it more interesting.
I mean,
no, it's just overall, it's whatever you want. I'm genuinely looking around everything. Oh, Michael, you are far too kind. I would have gone to see the Bond.
I was contemplating going to see a new Bond this evening, but I remember tonight's show. Very kind, Michael.
Tell you what, if you want something to be doing in the chat, come up with a drinking game for Guardians podcast.
I like it. Right, I'm gonna stand up and have a look at my stuff. What have I got?
I mean, if the hosts are taking part, I don't drink, so.
Oh yeah, this isn't for us. This is for the viewers. It's like every time Ali says Grimhammer, drink.
Anytime that I say Helmingers, drink.
Oh god,
we're all gonna die.
I was gonna say everyone's gonna be hammered within the space of like 20 minutes.
I'm just looking through all the lists, trying to think of models. I've got my 5. That I think.
I think I'm done.
Oh, I'm so.
I think I swapped those 2 around, and then I think I'm done.
I reckon this is going to be very, very much based on armies we play.
I was going to say they're going to be so different.
Oh god, yeah.
I'd be surprised if there's many, if any, crossovers. I don't think I'll have any crossovers with CJ.
I think we all play very different armies.
Yeah. And no, Candace chariots do not count. So Josh can't shout at us for this one.
Yes.
Well, they actually have the cavalry keyword, don't they? So
probably.
I think so.
But just have to clarify.
Yeah.
So it doesn't shout at us.
That gives me another idea.
Oh god.
Oh sweet Jesus.
I guess because we said wargs, spiders would also count as well if you wanted to put spiders.
Well, now you ruined my number 4.
Didn't have to say that. Yeah, I'm all done.
Oh, don't know.
Frederick's ruined my number 2. Oh, that's a sentence that wants context.
Oh, we have 40 seconds left, and I'm trying to think.
Oh, I've got a glass wine on the go right now. As it happens, my wine intake has risen somewhat in the last 20 months or so. I'm sure that a lot of people have been drinking a lot more, Michael.
Over lockdown.
Lockdown. Mine hasn't changed at all.
Have you always been teetotal?
What?
Have you always been teetotal?
Been what?
Teetotal.
I've got to think of one more.
Saying.
No.
Does that mean just doesn't drink?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much. I think I probably went over to friends and drank like twice at uni, and that's it.
And that's time. So
I'm just stingy with money, so.
So we will go to our time top 5 infantry warriors. I'm actually quite glad we didn't have Ali here because I can feel Ali's out for him.
Grimhammer.
I was gonna say just put Grimhammers
of
or
both. both parts of a Vault Warden too.
Vault Wardens.
Yeah, Vault Wardens.
And then
Dwarf
Hunter
Rangers.
Orc?
Dwarf Rangers. He loves it. He loves the Dwarf Ranger.
It's kind of Hunter Orcs as well, right? That's his evil.
Yeah. What's another dwarf that he uses quite? Oh, the Humble Dwarf Warrior, the metal ones. There we are. That's Ali's list sorted.
There you go.
I hope he watches this back and is like, yes, that is correct. Right. My number 5. I really struggled with this one, and I just went for Rohan Rorgard.
Fair.
I think they look cool, and they're pretty good in game.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the new legions. Well, Legion? Is it? Can you get Rorgard and Helms? I don't think I've ever looked at Helms.
Yes, you
Okay.
can. Yes, you can.
So in Helms and Theodrids.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Okay.
Hobbit Militia, says Nathan. That's
Oh, nice.
Citadel Rogard, probably some ridiculous
Overpowered
overpowered
dwarf
dwarfs,
something.
Hunter Orcs, and Hobbit Militia.
Nice.
I mean, you could say Nine Hills. Nine Hills would be pretty. It's a pretty strong choice.
Yeah.
the Orcs are damn good value for their points.
Yeah, but my number 5 is the good old Wood Elf.
The plastic ones.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Not necessarily for looks.
I was gonna say that just.
They pretty much ever since I've played Hummingers, I've used them with Wood Elves because it's pretty strong. And then, oh no, you've killed my Rohan guy. I'm just gonna shield with my elf because my spear allows me to do that.
So
I love it.
Here's a question for you: in the new edition, would you still be taking Wood Elves because they're more expensive, or
At
would
the
you
moment,
just take Galadriel?
so the plan at the moment is yes, because I own them.
Yeah.
But if I get enough by a number of tiers, I'll be running Galadrim instead, because Josh is trying to convince me to run Galadrim instead of them. So
yeah,
I'll see how those go, and that'll determine what I do for the One World event.
nice.
It's Wood Elves or Galadrim.
Nice.
I did a little thing about Haldir's Patrol as a legendary legion, and I did a little history of the Wood Elf in competitive gaming. God, it was horrible way back when. But I
because it was like Legolas and 70 odd elves, wasn't it?
Yeah, just everybody with throwing weapons, strength 3, hit on 3s, everybody's dead.
Yeah.
But
that was,
I've not seen a single Wood Elf since the new edition because I think they're just that badly costed against Galadrim warriors.
Well, they've got it's the Elven cloaks, isn't it?
They're forced to take cloaks now, yeah.
So we got some. Michael said he only's ever had one drag on a cigarette in his mid-teens. Thought it was awful, and now better things to spend his money on. Vinyl. Well, vinyl's coming back around. Don't feel that old. Or do you feel more old because it's coming back around? I don't know.
We're feeling a little bit of physics and film and TV nerd coming up here. Oh look, I got my little Warner Brothers pen that they gave me. Anyway, if vinyl actually, oh god, can you imagine? Vinyl records contain a lot more information than CD discs because there's just more material and you can put more sort of layers of grooves and that kind of thing. So actually for the sort of music snobs nowadays, it's only just overtaken in the film industry where you could get more by actually running film through it. You still get more information than running a digital. It's only very recently that now,
digital is gone.
Yeah.
Oh wow, nice.
It's also cool. Much more awkward and clumsy to use
film, yeah. It's convenience more than anything.
So, anyway, moving on. My number 5 is a Farharad half troll.
Oh, good shout. Good.
Gotta love half trolls. Half trolls are brutal.
Half trolls are.
Sneak preview. Nothing on my list has less than 2 attacks. So
I like it. So we've got some more. We've got some more listened. So Ewan's is Rivendell Warriors. So that's the Lost Alliance ones. Eastern Warriors, Warriors of Numenor, Royal Guard, and Iron Hills. Nice.
People like him Royal Guard.
Yeah,
Dave. People said that now.
The Warrior of Erebor is higher than Dwarf Warrior just because it's Ali's army.
Yeah.
even though his warriors of overall would be converted Grimhammers, let's be honest.
Who's putting ruffians? Kill that guy. God.
So,
Right.
CJ, you're number 4 while we're on it.
The giant spider.
Giant spider. Nice.
20 points of om nom nom. Lovely strength 5. It causes terror. It's got 10-inch move. It can climb over anything. And then you put Ashrak in the room, and it just turns into if it wins, you're dead.
Yeah. It's one of those dead take it off models, isn't it?
Yep.
Gethin, number 4.
Urukai Berserker.
Yeah, fair.
He's followed up with Feral Uruks in the chat. Yeah, not
From last edition, not this edition. As much because they're like pretty useless this edition.
What, Berserkers?
So Berserkers, no, Ferals.
Depends what theme you're running with.
I mean, if you're running Ferals, then you're just hindering yourself because you just took a Berserker.
Yeah. What points?
It's not cost effective, really.
What points do you reckon Ferals would have to be to actually be worth running? 11?
Back to what they were.
What were they at the moment? They're
13 at the moment, yeah.
They were 12?
Yeah.
They were 12 and then they got increased by a point and got like 2 or 3 nerfs.
Yeah, they dropped the defense
just like
from 5 to 4.
Yeah.
I think they did something else. I can't remember.
Possibly the courage gone down a bit.
It just wasn't. It was just an over nerf. It wasn't necessary.
I think if they were maybe in a legion, in Uglet Scouts or Lurtz's Scouts, then possibly. But
yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't know what the fluff is behind them. Whether they're like on the scouting missions or are they just on the sacking of Rohan.
Yeah, they're meant to be Fords of Eisen with Vrasku in that kind of area. So I'm currently doing my, fanfic Legendary Legions. I'm doing Burning of the Westfold, and I thought, chuck them in there.
Yeah. I agree. Oh, Castellans of Guldor. They're heroes.
The heroes.
They're not infantry. They're not infantry, cheeky young. Khazards, Fountain Court Guard, Black Numenorians, Moranons, Guard of the Iron Court. Ooh, nice. That's a good list. So my number 4 is the Humble Corsair Warrior. The ability to just spam them and have throwing weapons and fight 4. It's like, deal with jagged, sharp things. So So my number 3 is a Dead Marsh Spectre.
Pretty good one.
Because Angmar for the win.
Something that I didn't know this apparently so Ben Davis from Chester pointed this out to me because Calman had said that you could do something. He was just double checking, and I didn't know this was a thing. But you can make people charge with the Spectre.
No,
because the Spectre says you can't enter a control zone, but if a model doesn't have a control zone, you can move it into base contact with someone, which makes them move in combat. Because it doesn't say you can't charge. It just says you can't enter a control zone.
Oh,
I like that in the way that I hate it.
That's an FAQ question.
Oh, I've got the best FAQ question. If you want me to throw one at you.
Oh God, go on then.
So, Throne Rider.
Yeah.
On a 2 to 5.
Yeah.
It says you may do nothing else this turn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do anything, correct?
Yeah.
So you can't roll dual rolls.
No, that's not a thing.
Because Paralyze stops you from doing dual rolls, so it's a thing that can be stopped. So if you can't do anything,
yeah, no, that's not a thing. That's not a thing, Kevin. That is not a thing.
It is if my opponent is being an ass to me. Against a normal person, it's not a thing.
That's not, no.
But yeah, I'm going to be submitting that to the FAQ because I realized I was just like, that's really badly worded.
Yeah.
Jay will probably laugh, but
yeah, I don't think you're going to get an answer. Michael, this is just infantry warrior overall, so it's however we deem them in our top 5. Gethin, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Half Trolls.
Oh, excellent.
So we do have a crossover.
Excellent. They're just so good.
Mhm.
They're just so good.
Helped carry me at Ardacon a few years back.
Well, the major issue is the courage, right? But then
Yeah.
with the current Farharad list, they've solved that because
Oh,
you
yeah.
charge a hero in, and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's why I
bit of
always
cooldown
have
stuff.
it's always why I have a tribes master on foot with my half trolls.
Mhm.
You just burn his might for heroic moves, and you make sure you spend his will or might if you need to get into combat. So your half trolls just go thanks and go that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just smash.
Yeah.
Do you think a gimmick list would work? Because Harad can spam reasonably well for
Yeah.
cheap warriors. So could you do a gimmicky kind of half troll frontline Harad spear, Suladan 6-inch banner, and then you've got the Harad shooting to pull them to you, and then you just kind of blend them with your front row of fight 5.
You wouldn't have massive amount of shooting, but you might be able to do it.
You wouldn't have masses of shooting. So like it's a real complex thing. So you wouldn't have masses of shooting because you've got half trolls, but if you had Mahud warriors in the front row with blowpipes, they're still strength 4. Obviously they're only 1 wound and 1 attack, but you still get the blowpipes and some extra stuff.
So it's like you could do it, but yeah, I think Mahud warriors with a couple guys around.
You'd have
would be
to
better.
really fiddle. I think it would only work at a certain points value and with certain heroes and like a combination.
Yeah,
So-
probably.
So
Yeah.
I've written a 700 point list with Suladan Betrayer and Mahud King, and it's about 43 models. I've got like 14 bows, 11 blowpipes, but there's no half trolls in that list. I've got like 2 or 3 raiders, 2 serpent riders, and then a couple of fatties, some serpent guard, Hydra with bows, and a couple of watchers, just for those like magic and terror charging stuff. So yeah, that's probably the way I'd go. But there probably is a way of having like a tribes master and 8 half trolls probably, and then Suladan and dudes. It's just trying to figure out that balance. Which is probably what I'm going to try and theorize tomorrow when I'm bored. Now you said it, it's in my mind. Number 3, CJ.
Gundabats.
Warbats.
Oh, Gunda bats. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
they've been
cool.
discussed a fair point on the pod up to this point, but as a brief overview, you get the fly, you get the traps, you get your knockdown, and you get your strength for random hits, and then
Yeah.
wherever they charge, they get +1 to wound effectively. So yeah,
Yes.
the nasty things.
How does Charles Master help? So the Farharad army bonus is if you have a Mahud hero where in combat, then any Farharad model within Farharad warrior model within 6 inches of that hero automatically passes courage tests. Yeah, it's really good.
It was.
Really good.
They used to have that, right? They had that back in Legions, and then they removed it.
Yes, it was linked to the actual profile of the warriors, but they were also fight 4. I think way back in the when. But this edition, my hoods have gone to a 3+ shoot value, which is amazing. It's like excellent, blowpipe to shit.
It's actually a strong list.
It's really good.
It's a strong list rather than like last edition. It wasn't like a complete joke list.
No,
but you wouldn't take it like competitively.
Yeah, I've played it at 700 points. This is before the king could get extra dudes, so I was at max numbers, and I had 39 models. But that included like 5 or 6 half trolls, a king, and 2 tribes masters, one of them on a camel. And it was like, yeah, fine. It was great. I had like 20 something blowpipes.
That's grim. I think it's one of those
armies.
One of the armies that you just don't see because it's hard to collect.
Yes.
And it's expensive.
Most
rather than
definitely.
Like Calmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because both Canned and Mahud were pretty bad last edition.
Yeah.
So no one bought them. The people that bought Canned and Mahud were the people like there were people that bought them, like you bought them.
Yeah.
I had Mahud at one point. Josh Devoy had Mahud. It's just like some people did, but because they liked it,
I've got an
just not
absolute
like,
shit
playing
ton.
and stuff. Yeah.
I've got 12 half trolls. Let's start there.
Yeah.
How many camels is that?
God.
Not all of them. I've got a betrayer converted on a camel. I've got a king on a camel. I've got 2 converted Triumphs on a camel, and then I think I've got about 11 other camels.
Have you got any half draws on a camel?
No, because that is a ridiculous idea.
Battle companies, you can do it.
That is
Yeah.
a ridiculous idea.
I also did it for a king conversion.
That's
Yeah,
a better
good
idea. And then I've got like 12 warriors with blowpipe, 16 with spear, 2 converted banners on foot, a warhorn on foot. Yeah, dudes. And then like 8 with the club weapons that I'd completely.
Do we like
pointless.
Mahud?
Yeah, and then the Royal War Monarch. So.
Is there a good army that's an equivalent where it's like you don't see anybody use it because they're just impossible to buy? Or
That's a very good question.
while we
Rough,
ponder that,
maybe.
I was
Fiefdoms?
gonna say fiefdoms or Iron Hills, maybe, or
I think Iron Helms is
They've-
quite common at the moment.
they were in vogue quite a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say most of the Forge World stuff, but because they've been so strong, yeah, people
Yeah.
just buy it
Hobbits?
anyway.
Just because
Hobbits, yeah, because you got to buy them in vast.
you have to buy
quantities.
loads. They're all metal, and once again, they're not like a super strong army. So
No.
you'd get some
Yeah.
people buying it, but not everyone.
I was
And
gonna
they're
say,
a pig to paint.
yeah, I would say fiefdoms, but then I've got lots of fiefdoms.
I mean, I'd still
so-
say fiefdoms. Like, not a lot of
Yeah.
people have. Like, I'm so like, if fiefdoms was a plastic army, I reckon you'd see them a lot more. You'd see so many
Yeah.
people using them because it's actually a strong list.
It's
But
really
it's
good.
so hard to get hand of.
They're really, really good.
It's not
Oh,
really a
Ruffian.
full army. Yeah, Ruffian's a good one. I was gonna say Mordor or Urukai.
Yeah.
Mm.
You don't really see them.
yeah.
Speaking of which, the Ewan's put in the chat Blackguard of Barad-dûr. I'm not sure if you were going for good ones or terrible ones. It's just
played-
not worth the points.
Bit of a spoiler for my tournament thing, but we played in the doubles a double Blackguard army,
Oh wow.
and we were like going into it, we were scared. As you
Right.
can imagine.
CJ,
Yeah.
number 2. Let's finish these off.
Yeah.
Tangents
Grabine.
galore. Grabine.
Fair.
For many of the same reasons, but mostly that it takes about
6 to
50
hit.
on average shots from an elf bow to take one of them down.
Yeah.
So
Absolute terrors. Geffen, number 2.
This is going to be a weird one, seeing as I've never actually used the model. I just think it's got crazy potential. The Eastling Acolyte,
Oh.
specifically with an axe. Because
Oh.
if we go back to a discussion we were having before about ferals, they
Mhm.
basically have the old feral stat line for 12 points,
Yeah.
plus the throwing daggers and the mobility.
I think
Fair
people
point.
really underestimate the +2 jump over a wall,
Yeah.
stab, stab,
That-
stab.
Yeah,
Mm.
because so many people use walls and terrain that's not impassable, but they can't be bothered climbing it because
Yeah.
they have to stop. People just use that as an impassable piece of terrain. But if
Yeah.
you got the acolytes, it's like just gonna run up it. Gonna put an heirloom up
Thanks.
there, put an objective up there. You can't get to it because you're lazy, but I can get to it in one turn.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Good shout.
And they're really good.
My number 2 is Men at Arms. Oh, Men at Arms.
They're the ones with the pikes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
In a fiefdoms list, they are incredible.
Mm.
Wow.
So the courage 4 as well as fight
No,
4,
they're
so
courage.
courage
They're
3.
courage 3. Knights of Dun with courage 4, but
Right.
they've got a sword, so they can feint if Forlong's nowhere near.
Hmm.
They've got pikes, so that's 2 supports. But it's the if they're within 3 inches of Imrahil, they become fight 5.
Yep.
So
And the 12-inch bloody banner.
And with the
following
12
them around.
and a 12-inch banner. So the thing is, though, because everyone's like, but it's only 3 inches. Yes, but it's not the front guy. it's not the supporting guy, it's the pike guy here, and Imrahil's way over there. So you can make that fight 5 bubble absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. And then if you've got Forlong nearby, then they're rerolling 1s to wound, even if they're at the back. It's like, yeah cool. Like, I think like they are the one thing in the fiefdoms list that I always like value more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that people massively underestimate how much you can cover in 3 inches.
Yeah,
because it's the same with God, CJ. It's the same with Thranduil, where he makes the extra guy's 5 value like higher. It's like, well, it's just making it so much harder to get to the person. Like, even if Imrahil's on the front rank, you got someone fighting Imrahil, that's a tough fight. But now all the other fights around him are like insanely hard because he's got the 5 value.
Yeah,
it's just it's pretty good.
Well, I've even had Imrahil hit 2 guys on the flank, heroic combat, and then just come back round and sit behind my line.
Make them the 5 value,
yeah. On fiefdoms, why do you take them instead of just Gondor? Because
Gondor's boring.
Because
Gondor's not very good.
I think they're better than Gondor.
Yeah, fiefdoms overall are better.
The combinations
cool
of heroes
people.
are really good. Yeah, I've thought about putting Iralas or Madril into a fiefdoms list because he's got March, but then you want your Blackroot Vale archers, which therefore you need your bow limit for, and it's a really tough one to balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I prefer them over Gondor.
They're just overall stronger. Just
yeah.
Like everything that Gondor has, fiefdoms, like except for obviously some of the heroes. Like he has some cool heroes, especially with the new book.
Yeah.
But everything that the troops can do, fiefdoms is better.
Yeah, like for me, obviously Imrahil's top of the list. Then Forlong is a tank by himself. He's 5/5 with a strength 5 with a war spear, and he gives the rerolling 1s to wound. That's just
got a horn,
and he's got a war horn, and you can put him on a horse for 90 points. And then you go, Dwin here is my 3rd choice with like 8 Blackroot Vale archers, and you can just use his might to heroic shoot, and rerolling to wound is grim.
It's surprising how much damage a squad of Blackroot Vale archers can do.
Yeah, really, really good.
I was going to say, you can put Forlong on a horse because you can convert. Most people I just put him on a base with a horse and say, done.
Yeah, no. My number 1, we do have something in common. It's a half troll.
Oh, so everyone's gone half troll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, except Ali.
Ali, yeah.
To be fair, Ali might have.
Ali might have put a half troll, to be fair.
He could have put a half troll on his list.
Yeah. No, I just think they're just really good. Gethin, you're number 1. Oh god, I'm just gonna put it
down. just type it in.
Right, CJ, you're number 1.
Helmingers.
God's sake.
I mean, my number 1 is probably just as predictable as Gethin's.
Prowl?
Bat Swarm.
Oh yeah, you said 2 attacks, yeah.
Yeah. I got one that I can't believe didn't make anybody's list was the Wood Elf Sentinel.
Oh, didn't even cross my mind.
I don't own one, so
didn't even cross my mind. What were the other ones I was thinking of?
That's a good one.
Black Numenorians was one I looked at.
I was thinking Gladron Court.
Yeah, the humble Uruk warrior.
Basic Uruk.
Because they are just solid. I think Easterling warriors are pretty good. Just in mass, the issue is they just can't kill things.
Yeah,
that is genuinely their only issue.
The one that's probably, I guess, is because of it's just 3 Hunter Orcs.
Yeah.
If you're making like an actual top 5 infantry list, I think you've got to put Hunter Orcs on there.
No, I did look at them, and I played with them Sunday, and they're good. I had 1 Hunter Orc surrounded by 4 Corsairs, and he won the fight and killed 2 of them. I was like, excellent.
Do you know what else is infantry that hasn't made anybody's list? Iron Hill's Chariot. for whatever reason,
Oh.
has
When
got the
I guess yeah.
it's just got the
We did
monstrous
we did
charge
say
special rule.
25 mil except for a few things.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I didn't hear the 25 mil because obviously that wipes out my entire monster map.
No,
Well, no, we
but
said
yours
thick, except for, like, the wargs
yours
and
are
stuff,
essentially stuff that cannot be mounted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fine.
I'd say it's fair.
Yeah.
Just
That's
having a look through
really
things.
interesting. Keep sending us your top 5 infantry warriors in the chat.
I was gonna say this one very much based on what we run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell that I run Farharad, Angmar.
Mm-hmm. You can see both of my main lists: Helmigs and Woodals, Half Trolls and Berserkers.
So
Yes, and I've got bats and spiders and trolls.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, Leon's come out to bat for Gondor. But,
yeah. How is that?
I really liked Frederick's consistency in picking the terrible troop choices that are out there. Moria Black Shields, terrible value. Osgiliath Vets, rubbish in their list. Feral Urks, Ruffians, yeah. It was very good eye for the dreadful.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue with that.
There's some good models out there that you just don't see anymore because they're not worth playing.
Yeah. The issue with the Boromir and the Defense 7 Fight 5 Bodyguard is that Boromir with flag and horse and shield is what, 215? 220? Imrahil's 160 on a horse with lance and horse. Guard of the Fountain Court with Defense 7 are 11 points.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fiefdom's troops are maximum 11, and that's the Knights of the Longroth.
Yeah. It's also the fact that you get so many. Although you have limited heroes in fiefdoms, they add so much to the list.
Yeah.
Like the fact, especially if you get the army bonus, so every model is affected by everything. You're getting the Imrahil banner, you're getting the Forlong rerolls ones, you're getting the Fearless from Angbor.
Yeah.
Twin Hit doesn't affect any of them.
Not at the moment.
No.
It's one of those future-proofed ones. You can tell.
I'm aware they did playtest another faction of fiefdoms before this edition, but they ended up dropping it.
Yeah.
So potentially that would have been a Gondor at War thing, but
who knows? But still, if you said like 300 points of fiefdoms versus Gondor, and you had Boromir with as many Fountain Court as you could get, you'd have what, 8 or 9 Fountain Court maybe? But then
Gondor just doesn't kill stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas fiefdoms with the bonuses will.
Yeah, so my thing would say, I'd have Imrahil, front rank of clansmen, backed up by 2 pikes each. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's instantly I've got another 5 or 6 warriors, 6 warriors, let's say. And probably another couple because I'm only 8 or 9 points model rather than 11. Mm-hmm. So suddenly you're looking at Imrahil and chaps. So like I took all 4 fiefdoms heroes to the GT one year and still had an army of 38 models. Like, I think that's solid.
It's also, I guess, one. So allies doesn't really matter with either of the armies because they're the same except for Dead and Harrow, but you don't really ally with them.
Yeah.
I get the one thing that Gondor. Well, once again, the benefit of Gondor is the variety of heroes.
Yeah.
Especially because you get a wizard with Gandalf, you get Huron, you get the new guys. But I think just overall, fiefdoms is stronger and is like when you play against a Minas Tirith army, you're expecting it to be a grind.
Yeah.
Especially with Shield War, whereas fiefdoms is a lot more killy.
Yeah. Having Forlong in there. So like you kind of go with Gondor. You kind of got one big hero each time. It's kind of you go down the Aragorn, Gandalf, or Boromir route, or you spam small heroes. But if you go down one of the big heroes routes, so yeah, so Leon, I tend to take kind of an equal number of Knights of the Lamroth and Clansmen. It's normally about 4 or 5 of each, and then black roots, as many as I can probably fit, and then the rest of men at arms. Might have the occasional axeman, 2 axemen in there, but apart from that, my axemen never get a look in. Never get a look in. But yeah,
two-handed feint on the front line with Grim, because they're going to win the fight because they got the high fight value and they got 2 pikes with a reroll.
If you have
3 attacks,
if you have 4 long, you don't even need to feint. Like, so yeah, I think a grind.
Piercing strike.
But yeah, well yeah, you could put axeman in the front of piercing strike. Like you've still got fight 5 behind you. So yeah.
Would you maybe struggle with mobility more because your cav is 20 points each and you want them to be doing damage and you don't have as easy access to march?
Yes,
as Condor does.
that is the issue. I never have march in my fiefdoms list.
So does that just mean you've got to spend more time planning, like you need more time to get to objectives and things?
Yeah, generally I think it's the same with a lot of armies that don't have march. Like you've got to make sure you've got your heroes in the right place. Imrahil's 12-inch standfast is huge. It's amazing. But yeah, you've got to kind of find out where you've got to go.
You could also just ally in with Rohan.
Yeah.
Get a captain with march and a few cavalry.
Yeah.
It's their Green Alliance.
Why a captain? Theoden,
so many.
Theoden,
Yeah.
Dewi.
I'm just saying for cheap.
Yeah.
If you wanna, if you're just taking the Rohan for the mobility, so probably be Hammer or Gamling.
You could do Theoden, who then takes the leadership off of Imrahil, which lets him be because then they've got to deal with a leader and the 12-inch bloody banner.
Yeah.
And then Theoden brings in the march and also brings in Fight 5 Royal Guard or Fight 4 Rohan, which are much cheaper cav options. And then you can just, best of both.
You'll score 2 12-inch standfasts.
Yeah. And they're shooting cavalry.
Yeah, skirmish.
So, yeah, it's one I've thought about bringing in Theoden, but I don't quite know how I'd do it.
I feel like just dropping in a couple like 3 ride or like 2 rides and an rider, and then just Hammer might be better. Just so you get the to keep the fiefdoms army
as big
strong,
as possible. Yeah,
and then you have the 3 cavalry for like recon and whatever, and then you got march.
Yeah, I think if you were bringing in Rohan, you'd probably look to drop the black roots.
If you really can Gamling banner himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a banner.
Gambling with the banner, and he's the only person you can give my back to. So,
but then that's 115 points on a dude.
Yeah, but free heroic combats, free heroic marches.
Yeah.
Free heroic
Imrahil never has to spend a point.
The good thing about that is Dwyn here doesn't have to call the heroic shoot for Blackroot Bells to get their reroll.
There you go. Gambling, boom.
Yeah.
I think Farmer was looking at doing some gamey bollocks like that with Aldor and Gamling.
Aldor, Gamling, and Dwyn here.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. But that's a lot of points to spend on a shooting gimmick that probably won't work.
Yeah. There's a lot of scenarios which are either run to the middle or you start in each other's faces anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, there's loads of ways to do it. I generally don't. I think nowadays I would probably take a Dolomoth captain on horse over Angbor. I just don't think fiefdoms is necessarily.
Yeah.
Just don't think the fearless is necessarily worth it.
Yeah, you got a Warhorn on top of Courage 3, which is solid enough for Courage.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then 12-inch standfast on
Imrahil.
Imrahil.
Yeah, exactly.
Threes across the board, right?
3s across the board. Yeah. Courage 6, I think. So.
And what the Clansmen, the Courage 5, aren't they? So your front line is going to charge reliably anyway.
Well, Courage 5 without Forlong.
Crumbs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's suddenly like, yeah, cool. I've got
And also, they're one of those armies which has moderately priced heroes and decently priced elite troops, which means you can hoard them out much more than you would think. And then it's really scary looking down the volume of pikes and archers that they can put on the table.
You get that army into the death and you just see a giant block.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what the Romans did.
Yeah. The most annoying thing about the fiefdoms, most of their troops are 9 points.
Yeah.
It's really, really annoying trying to fiddle in for points values and whatever.
Buy some weapons. Give a few of your Darmroth guys an axe or a mace or something.
Oh.
Yeah, give the clansmen two-handed axes. Just what? If you're not dead before, you are now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, no, they're a really, really solid list.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy playing fiefdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So on that note,
Can't complain. Right, yes. Tournaments. CJ, if you go first.
oh, if I must.
Because
we roll a dice for it.
No,
1, 2,
well,
3,
we spoke about the London GC last time. So
yes.
So
I went to the London Grand Tournament. The first game began with a priority roll. I rolled 1 dice, and so did he, and that was how it all started. It was
Excellent.
6 games of. So we last time discussed it was escalation. So 400, 600, 800. And then I took good and evil, one of only 5 who did. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was like 60 people there, I think.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, basically it meant that I only got 1 game with each list because I'm alternating back and forth, and then I'd go up to the next rung. The first game was Seize the Prize. I had Moria with a Bat Swarm, and my opponent was Durin and Hearthguard as a warband.
Excellent.
So basically I said, right, instead of getting the bats, grab it and sod off, basically I was going to give it to the troll and try and get him to do like a linebacker breakthrough.
I remember seeing your pictures on Discord. Seeing your pictures on Discord and chuckling to myself.
Yeah, sort of threw the Khazards away, bodged Durin out of the picture, and then he's running for the end line, and then I got broken. The troll ran and dropped the prize. The bats went and picked the prize up. Next turn, they fucked off as well. 2-2 draw. 2-2. Yeah, I was in a position where I could have just left Groblog out of combat for the last one, so I didn't. I said, nah, Groblog will have a fight. He'll deal with it. And then 3 dice, 1 high.
Excellent.
Against the Khazards 3, who then wounded Groblog, who then failed his fate point, and the 2-2 draw. To be honest, I'd much rather enjoyed. It could have been over in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This was more fun to just muck about with it.
Yeah.
Then shifted over to Lake Town. At that point, you just sort of bard and a captain and troops, and I had the pleasure of Angmar, which is sort of Lake Towns. Oh no, don't want that. Witch King with Barrow-wight and troops, and it wound up being incredibly even because we're both the same fight value.
Yeah.
Both got a banner, both wounding on 5, so it was just back and forth.
What was the scenario, sorry?
Corners, command the battlefield.
Yep, nice.
So in the end, I just sort of pulled away a little bit by keeping bards out of trouble and then just running him in, doing a combat and running back out again, which proved to be the difference. But I rolled a 2 for bard I rolled a 1 for bard to come on, went to the next turn, rolled a 2 for bard to come on, said, I'll spend 2 might. Alfred can give him might. He rolled a 1. Stole Bard's last might point, rolled another 1. We then checked with the TO because there is no might to steal. Does Alfred get 1 or what happens? TO said, nope, that is just gone.
Yeah.
Got a 2 for the last one, so I got 1 might on Alfred, 1 might on Bard. And that's my ball game. But eventually scraped it to a 4-1 win. I wasn't very careful with where people were on the board. So if I'd have sort of measured it out on the last turn, I could have got some more VPs. And this was one of those tournaments where it's all about the VP difference and not the wins.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't really give a hoot because having a good time with my opponent, move on to 600 points. The end of that day was something. It was Moria, and we got the Watcher involved, and I had Lords of Battle up against Thorin, Legolas. Thorin and Legolas leading Iron Hills with Thranduil's Halls behind. So you look at that with a Moria list, and you just go, oh God, I'm in big trouble here. Marched up and then popped up the Watcher behind. And at that point, my opponent just kind of panicked and went, oh God, let's throw this and that. So the first thing I did was, as we detailed on the pod a couple of weeks ago, here's Groblog, here's the bats, here's the Watcher. Thorin looks tasty, dead.
Yeah.
Next. So then he's like, Legolas ran into a corner to get away. So his might was useless, and all he was doing was the shoot value. So I had uncontested heroic moves all the time. So at that point, it was just, okay, where are my goblins outnumbered and about to die? Watcher, eat that one, and that one, and that one. Just like about 3 troops a turn, he'd just pull in, and then first turn was both Goat Riders and the Banner Bearer, just all in one mouthful.
Yeah,
and
fair
then
enough.
from there on, So, if you get like Dwarf, Elf, Spear, then you just pull the Dwarf out. The Elf is now doing nothing. The Goblins that were in that fight are now not dying.
Yeah.
And somehow I won Lords of Battle 10-0 with Moria against Iron Hills.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
The Watcher.
The Watcher.
Yeah, Watcher's just power. And he turned to me afterwards and said, so what on earth would you have done differently? And I said, I don't think there is anything you can do about the Watcher at the moment, apart from bring a siege engine. So
like a bomb.
Yeah, 600 points of Lake Town. God, forget the scenario. Bilbo is so much fun. I did take him just to sort of use up points, but what I kept doing was just pairing him with Bard on one thing, and then it'd be like, right, run around and cause havoc because you're invisible. Go and have fun with that. Won that game, forget what the hell it was. On to 800 points. Ran into Eagles at Breakthrough with Watcher, who just pulled Radagast on Eagle straight in and ate him. Took a few turns because Radagast has heroic defense, but yeah, it was just not gonna. He played pretty good considering he had Aragorn on horse, he had Halbarad with Banner on horse, then Gwaihir then Radagast on Eagle and 3 Eagles. And
interesting.
Hey,
he used a fair amount of skill to be able to pull the Shaman out and ragdoll him, so then I couldn't automatically charge in, and then he'd link heroic combats and things. Took forever on his moves, but to be honest, he was up against, who's more or less he'd lost the scenario just based on the draw. Then the final game, 800 points of Lake Town against 800 points of Assault on Helm's Deep, which was run by Andy Hamlin? No. Aaron Pullard. There we go.
Yeah. He ended
Gandalf
up finishing second.
Second, yeah. So we were both kind of in a position for podium come the final. I'd won 4 and drawn the first one with the Cave Troll, but I hadn't really paid any attention to trying to maximize VP sprints through the tournament because I just didn't want the aggro. Anyway, Gandalf's Blinding Light helped a lot with crossbows and the ballistas.
I can imagine.
The rerolls. He spent all of his might on the 2 ballistas like the first turn just to hit stuff.
Yeah.
And then that made life a little bit easier going forward. But it's a bit of it was fog of war, and you're not got a lot of mobility with Lake Town, and his heroes are fairly hard to kill and mine are very squishy.
Yep.
So basically I wasn't making any dent in him with the shooting because obviously he's got 2 ballistas.
Yeah.
And even though I've got Blinding Light and 15 bows and Bard, there's not a lot happening there. So then I thought, right, well, we'll get involved in the fight because I still wound on 5s and I've got a massive banner reroll and Bard can run around doing things. And it just wound up being you feed stuff into a blender because he's got Fight 4 and he just piked all the way to Kingdom Come. He said, look, I said, well, you've not got many crossbows, you've not got many guys with shields. and I was curious why that was. And he said, well, it's just the volume of dice that you can throw. Because if you lose a fight with an Uruk pikeman in the front row, he's probably dying anyway, so you don't care about being able to back away.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just meant I was losing the war of attrition, and eventually just got broken, and he didn't, and that was the end of that. So
did you have a bomb?
He did have a bomb, but Bilbo kept running right through people and going, "No, stop trying to light the bomb."
Excellent, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Absolutely love it.
It was great fun. Yeah, it was a good game. I felt like I was tactically outmuscled by Aaron, and he's a very good player.
Yeah, relatively recent on the scene, I think, like the last 2 years, but has been, even from I think his like debut event, he's been up and around the top. So yeah, fair enough. And like you say, if you feel like you just played it better, then sometimes that just happens. Like, but how did you find going after our kind of tournament etiquette and all kind of discussion? What, like, has your views changed?
I didn't run into any really annoying people to deal with, thankfully. I'm aware of the player we discussed last time being around, and nearly all his opponents had miserable experiences. So whereas I've tried to develop a bit over lockdown, clearly not had any effect on him. I would say, look, there are still people who want to argue a lot. There are people that still want to go, oh no, it's I didn't find it fun at times. Probably only about half of the games I thought this has been a great laugh. My favorite by a long stretch was mucking about with the cave troll in the first round, because that was just so ridiculous. So actually the next event I'm booked to go to is the Strider Cup, which is the one that Kieran Street runs, which is a very weird doubles tournament where you're trying to score loads of secret objectives, and that takes precedent even over just normal tournament. And because I find that really fun, because you're trying to get away with stuff that you wouldn't normally, like your ring bearer, who is the cheap hero belonging to the team that doesn't have the leader, basically has to, I don't know what it was, win a fight and then not use might to not wound their opponent. It's like courage is knowing when to spare a life. That was that objective.
Okay.
So it's really fun stuff. It's the thing I look forward to every year. I couldn't make the original date, but he's moved it.
Because it was supposed to be end of August, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was just like, well, I'm moving house and starting a new job. I can't do it. So that one hopefully should just be a load of people looking to have a massive muck about, and I'll enjoy that.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully so.
The problem with the LGT was I'm still good enough at the game that I wound up squeaking wins for most of the. And that meant that then suddenly I'm climbing up and I'm like, oh no, this is getting worse. So I don't know what the solution is really. I deliberately throw games and then just muck about with people?
No, don't do that. But no, from the way you've described it, and obviously we've spoken before this and on Discord and all this kind of stuff. Sounds like you enjoyed it more than previous tournaments, and it hasn't deterred you any more than you already were. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's damning with faint praises. Review for a tournament.
No, is in like your tournament experience. It hasn't made you go, no, I definitely don't want to go to tournaments. It's made you go, I will go to some more to see how I feel about a few more, etc.
I think with the amount of time and energy that my new job now takes, the 2-day was maybe more than I'd have liked, and it turned a corner of being exhausting rather than fun. So I might resort to doing 1 day.
Because you had quite long travel to get there each day, didn't you? Even though you were London based. So that genuinely might be a thing. Like, I know when I've done tournaments, pretty much every tournament I've been to bar Reading, I've stayed. Obviously in and around the venue, and it makes life a lot easier, especially for day 2, when you might have had you might have gone out for food or you might have gone for drinks, and being able to get to the venue within half an hour. No, you haven't missed Finn's review, Josh, before we carry on.
He's yet to come. Yeah, it was 2.5 hours each way, which involved at minimum 5 different transits.
Yeah, no, that would put me off going to the event in the first place. So fair play to you for going.
Is it the first scouring? Because it's where was it? Is it Altrincham?
Yeah.
Because that's not too far from where I am on the train. Or it's not too far from where I am miles wise. I was like, I'll just go back home, and then it's the train to Manchester, which stops everywhere.
Yeah.
So it takes longer. But it was just the fact of, okay, so to get there, I have to wake up at this time. I need to walk to the station, which is 30 minutes. I then need to make sure I get that train. If I miss that train, it's going to be like another 30 minutes. So it's like, although it's not really a stressful situation, but it's like you need to rush to get there to make sure you don't miss the train. And then you got to walk from the station to the place. It's just a lot of added time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to when the East Anglia League starts running stuff again in Epping.
Yeah.
Because then it's just one-day events and it's people that don't take the game as seriously. And
from I've got the top 3 lists, which we won't go through here, but essentially Dan Ria won with Angmar.
He still has no idea how he did it. He's one of the East Anglia lot, and he's not won anything before. So for the LGT as his first scout, he's still like, how the fuck did I get here?
From looking at his lists, they were good. They were good lists, and they were lists I would run similar with. So like 400 was like Burder and 2 Barrow-wights, I think. Or like Barrow-wight and a cap, 2 Barrow-wights, and then you put the Witch King on a Fell Beast and extra guys, and then you brought in a Shade for 800. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Aaron was second. Did he run Assault the whole weekend?
He was,
just Assault.
Spam pikes.
Yeah, it scales pretty handily, to be fair. Add another ballista, add another warband. Yeah.
And I didn't look at third place, but I have it here. Give me 2 seconds.
Stuart Little.
Lidbetter. And
Lidbetter,
Corsairs, just pure. Oh, and then 800 he brings in Suladan. So he's got Dalamir Delgamar at 400, 600 he brings in a captain, and at 800 he brings in Suladan with 3 watchers and 4 raiders.
Yeah, that combination was actually what I played for the 600. Did Reconnoiter, which is never Lake Town's friend.
No.
And then, it's just...
Yeah, it's good.
Corsairs with throwing weapons. Just stop killing my guys. It's annoying.
You haven't missed most of the stream, Mr. Whitefoot. We will be going... We've still got Gethin's review to do, and if he doesn't take too long, we'll do another time top 5 to round up.
So one thing as someone who didn't attend the event, he posted the pictures of like the prizes up, but there was no indication as to what prize was what. No. So I was looking at them just like, wait, who won?
Okay.
Because I saw like just from looking at them, I was just like, wait, did Scott win? Because Scott was holding like a metal ring or something. It looked like it was like
no, Scott won best painted.
Scott won the best painted, both of them.
Yeah, he won good and evil.
Yeah, we did have a look at the table, and it was just, oh, for Christ's sake, it's Scott again. He did the lovely little Harad thing where he'd converted Black Numenorians to have hoods and that kind of business, and then his good one was Lothlorien, which had the kind of forest terrain bases with the path and the autumn leaves strewn about, and
yeah.
Is that one? Has he brought the Lothlorien or the Elfin one before?
It's the one he. If it's the same army, it's the one he took to the first Archon.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really, really good. he is SW Painting Studio in the chat. Go and find Scott's Instagram or just search Scott Whitefoot on the GBHL and you will see all of his nonsense. It is just ridiculous.
His Swampy Moria is
very good.
He had a chat with me for quite a while where I said about the stupid Ent conversion stuff I'm currently doing, and he gave me loads of help and advice. It was really good.
Oh, excellent.
There's also a brand new Moria player, the first event, and he had a cave drake painted to look like crocodile skin, and it was gorgeous.
Oh, that's really cool. That is awesome. That is awesome.
That's one thing. The cave drake and the Moria dragon, you get some really nice paint jobs with those.
Yeah, you can get some really good paint jobs. Really, really nice paint jobs.
So yeah, thank you to Sam Palmer for running it. Yeah, because I know that was a huge stress for him.
That's what I was going to say. As the southern rep for the GBHL, I've been talking to Sam about getting results in, etc. And he said, obviously, it was like a 60-player event or something. And he said there were 28 people who had tied with at least one other person in event scores. So so he had to go to tiebreakers for 28 people. So essentially, like half of the tournament were on the same tournament points as someone else, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, given that all the games were like a swing from 0 to 20 points each.
Yes.
The amount of people that landed on the same was pretty ridiculous. It took 3 days for the final result.
I was going to say it's pretty unlikely for that to happen with the normal missions, but yeah, the 20-point
swing as well. Yeah. It's just incredible. Incredible.
Oh, is this Scott in the chat?
It is Scott in the chat.
Oh, hi, Scott.
No, Scott's absolutely lovely. Yes. Indeed. No. I've Scott knows this, but every time he's at an event with like an army I've seen before, I'm like, yeah, you're not getting my vote. Every time I was like, Scott, you're not getting my vote. But it's kind of the same when you see the same armies over and over again. Like it's the same anyway, and I know Scott really well, and every time I just give a little jibe. But,
so that's kind of the reason I never vote for Kalman.
Yeah,
because I've seen like his Iron Hills is really nice, but I've seen it so much.
Yeah.
It's like nah, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
And like because Scott's relatively local to me, being like Gloucester, Cheltenham way, even at like the little one-day tournaments where he was practicing with that list for Ardacon or whatever at the different points values, and you see it gradually getting bigger, and he's putting more troops in, and like his Moria one. I don't know how many times I saw that going from like 450 points all the way up to like 700, just throughout all the different tournaments. And then by the time we got to Ardacon, it was like, here's the board that goes with it, etc. And then he's like, cool, right, now I start a new army. I'm like, oh god, what's it going to be this time? But obviously because of lockdown and everything, his Haradrim Corsair list I saw for the first time at Ardacon, and it is insane. It is insane. But
I saw a photo of him and I think Dale Gray that surfaced from like 2013, where they're both young and fresh-faced at the GP. Because I had been told in the year that Kalman won the newcomer over somebody here in the conversation, that he was just completely fresh and new to the hobby, and he just picked it up really quickly.
Kalman?
You lied to me.
No, I've been playing games with Kalman since like 2009. Him and Dale came second at one of the really old doubles to Ed and somebody. I remember.
Okay.
This was like back in the day of the Blue Book, I think.
Has he just did he stop playing GBHL or never went to those kind of events?
That was just the first GBHL year. It was basically, we used to have a really active player base in Chester, and then I went off to uni, and then people just like kind of stopped playing as much, because it used to be me and Kalman that were the really active ones. And then I started GBHL while at uni, and then came back and was like, Kalman, get your ass in here. Let's go tournaments.
Nice.
And then he's done the reverse thing here, because he started going to them And then during lockdown, I was like, nah, I can't be bothered. And Cam was like, Gethin, let's go. Or Cameron and Josh, I should say.
Yeah.
To be honest, be grateful to have friends
Yeah,
of good quality in the
massively.
local area. Because
Massively.
I'd never.
Good. It's Cameron. But I get what you mean.
When I have to travel 2 hours or potentially, an hour and a half to get to London to play someone like Mick, that's the closest thing I can get to regular.
Yeah,
so,
no, I can well imagine. Yeah, no, me and Gethin are both pretty lucky the fact that we can game close by, or if not, at the end of my garden.
Well, at the moment for me. When I'm in Cambridge, there's no one.
Have you tried to do like a player-based search in Cambridge?
So there's some people closer to Norfolk, and there's people.
Yeah, Norfolk.
Where are the Tysos?
Can't
remember where they are, but I think they're like the closest. There might be some people in Peterborough, but that's still like an hour and a half on the train.
Isn't
like that? Maybe
like an hour. Isn't one of Out of the Frying Pan guys Peterborough way?
I'm not sure. But I know there's not really anyone initially around Cambridge, really. Ben Camp's in Cambridge, actually.
Yes, I haven't seen him for a while, actually, at the time.
And then I've joined like 2 of the groups and posted about it, and a couple of people are just like, the typical, well, I've been playing for a long time, and I got some models when it came out, but I've never played. So it's like pretty much every 40k in fantasy player that have been playing since 2000 have some.
So you know Miniac, the YouTube channel?
Vaguely.
Scott, he does like painting stuff. He started with Lord of the Rings, and then he moved on to fantasy and whatever. So yeah, like I said, everyone's got those bits and pieces. So when
we start running East Anglia events down in Epping, would you be able to come down that way? Or 40k Gaming is about to do a 650 point event, which is Colchester way. So it's quite far down from Cambridge, but if you got a car, you could make it.
I don't have a car, but I'm not too sure. It depends on trains. I could probably get to Epping.
Yeah.
There's a straight Cambridge train to St Pancras.
Oh, cracking. Be good to see you around there.
Then just have to jump on the tube and wait.
There you are. I think Sweeting's agreed. I think if you talk to one of the Out of Frying Pan guys, if you post in there on their Facebook page, I think one of them is Peterborough way.
Okay.
So yeah, because he talks about going up to Lincoln. It might be down actually. Might be down Colchester. But yeah.
I've also got Tabletop Simulator if
needs be.
Desperate for some games.
I don't, and that's really annoyed me because since I've moved and all I've got is my work laptop, which does not have anything like the specs needed to run it properly. I used to do scenarios with Huddy like every other week, and it's I can't do it now.
Poor CG.
Do we do Gethin's tournament then?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say general tournament out of 10 for you. Like for just overall your experience, the venue, all of that shenanigans.
Yeah, the first day where I'm seeing everybody I've not seen in 20 months and I'm catching up and having really fun games on the lower middle end of the table was probably like a 9 out of 10. I was like, that was so good, so refreshing. Yeah. Really looking forward to tomorrow. And then the next day was just the games are getting hard now. People and I'm knackered. So
day 2's tiring without having a 2.5 hour journey, let alone anything else. But no, good to see you enjoying games again and enjoying tournaments.
Kind of you to say. Thank you.
Very good to see you enjoying them again. Come on then, Gethin. Here you are, Josh.
All right.
Here you are, Josh. So
what Josh is here for.
This was a doubles event, correct?
Yes. So this was a doubles event. Element Games. Wasn't a GPHL event or anything like that.
Who ran it?
It's a staff member at Element Games.
Okay,
and
it was a
I was
genuine. I didn't know if Steve was just
Yeah.
doing a small one or was.
No, originally I thought it was Harry Moore and Callum because they've done
Yeah.
Stockpoint Flames around this time.
Okay.
But it wasn't. It was just one of the staff members because I spoke to them afterwards and he was just like, yeah, me and my wife wanted to play some tournaments, so I just ran a doubles event. It's like, because they were players in it.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was 22 teams in total.
Oh,
It's
wow.
basically
That's
just one side.
That's a big doubles event.
Yeah, so 44 players in total. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts from walking in was, so I'd gone in the car. It was me and Ben on a team.
Yeah.
One of the chest guys. Cameron Adele was on team. We went in the car together.
Yeah.
And walking in, there was Johnny Wright, Ben Bowles,
Yeah.
Ben Bailey, Jonathan Lloyd, the Tysos, and then didn't recognize anyone really.
Okay, cool.
There was so many just new faces, so I was just like, "This is actually really cool."
Especially because you haven't been to tournaments in what, like 2.5 years, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good.
So it was good to obviously chat and catch up with like Johnny and Ben and people, but it was cool the prospect of playing new people. So yeah, Ben had taken Gladriel with Gladriel Warriors. I'd taken Theoden. No, I hadn't taken Helmengus. I didn't take Helmengus. I took Theoden, Elfhelm, and Riders.
Okay. What was the points limit, by the way?
350 each, so 700.
Okay, that's tiny.
And doubles is now you have two forces.
Yeah.
If it's two normal forces, you roll at the start of the game to see which is the primary force.
Yeah.
Primary force leader is the leader overall.
Correct.
But you can take a legendary legion.
Yeah.
In which case, it's whatever the legion states.
Yeah.
So, for example, somebody took the Balrog Legendary Legion. So one player had the Balrog, the other player had all the goblins.
That's amazing.
Which is quite funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, if you to take so there was one of the armies we played was Blank Gate Opens. So the troll is still the leader no matter what type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
So are they always the primary force?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a major advantage I've found in the few doubles tournaments I've done, knowing who your leader is at all times.
Yeah.
And then you can best build to prepare for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are limited, obviously, because you have to be the Legion. Both of you have to be that. But you can, as CJ said, you can take advantage of that in some ways if you really wanted to. But
it's like going to a tournament and saying you
can
bring good and evil. Like you can prep your army. You can prep your good army to only face evil, etc. So.
Mm-hmm.
I did Defenders of Helm's Deep as a legion at a doubles thing, and that meant that so Theoden's always going to be, and you need that one to survive because all the scenarios are like this. So you put the banner there, and then we need something to chase and save them. So put the Aragorn there. He's got the march.
Yeah,
build it like that. Whereas people that don't know which is going to be which.
You've got to try and cater for everything, don't you?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Very good.
That's right. Yeah. So let's see. So let's quickly go over the games. So first game was, I've got the missions here. It was take and hold. So you and your teammate deploy in opposite corners, and basically you need to get into the middle.
Yeah. Like a four-way, like a two-player divide and conquer.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, first was against Mordor, which was a double Blackguard army.
Oh yeah,
the double Blackguard of Barad-dûr. One side had Gothmog on Warg, the other one had a Mordor troll. So the first thing that I did was run away from the Mordor troll towards the Gothmog force and shooting them.
Yeah.
Ben moved towards the objective. Both of their forces turned towards Ben, but Ben had managed to not trap himself, but secure between two buildings, so he couldn't be flanked. And then I just charged in the back and ran through all the spearmen. We managed to either immobilize or trap Gothmog every single turn, so he couldn't do anything. Because it'd be like he'd moved up, so he couldn't charge the elves because there were guys in the way. And then because he'd moved spears to stop shots, I then charged the spears so he couldn't move. And Theoden, Elfhelm, heroic combating, killing everything.
Yeah.
And then basically game ended with 10-0. Yeah, 10-0 victory to us.
Nice.
We had also started on top table. So we were on
Okay.
table 1 first game. We then got 10-0 victory. So we're on table 1 second game.
Oh god.
So the TO moved our board over, so we went on the same
Yeah.
board. Then we played Jonathan Lloyd and his friend David, who's new to SPG but has done Wargaming for a while. They had the Black Gate opens list.
Yeah.
That was then Duel of Wits, which is a weird scenario in that you have to secretly write down an enemy hero who's your target. However, you are not allowed to tell your teammate who the target is, which is a really weird rule to uphold, because if my target is a captain, isn't me telling my teammate that we want to kill this captain telling him who my target is, which is breaking the rules. So it's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
So there was like a point where it's just like, I really want to kill this guy for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like
it's kind of at that point you have to kind of go. You've both just got to control your half separately, and not really talk to each other at all.
But it's like tactics wise, it's just like, how do I discuss tactics about I really want to kill this captain?
Yeah.
So at one point I just turned to Ben and was just like, do you trust me if I make a stupid play? And he was like, go for it. So Theoden heroic combat off 2 orcs, charged back into an orc captain and another orc, won that fight and killed them both, and that was my target. But then he was surrounded by the force. And I was just like, he's probably one of the targets rather than Galadriel. But yeah, basically,
do you both have a target?
You both have a target.
Okay.
So you get 2 points for killing the target.
Yeah.
But your opponent gets 2 points if one of your targets is within 6 inches of the center. So if I choose the Mouth of Sauron, if they have the Mouth of Sauron within 6 inches of the middle at the end, they get 2 points.
Okay.
Type thing. So we got to the end. I thought it was a draw, because I was like, well, there's no way that we'd killed we had a banner, we'd broken them, they'd broken us, we'd killed my target. I'd assumed Ben's target was the Mouth of Sauron because of how he was playing. I was like, well, they'll have chosen Elfhelm and Theoden, or just both Elfhelm. But David, who was new to the game, had chosen Galadriel because he just didn't realize like how tough it would be to kill.
Yeah.
So we managed to win that one.
Who was Ben's? Who was Ben's target? Was it the Mouth?
The Mouth of Sauron.
It was the Mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Josh is agreeing with you in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to. But I'm gonna get onto that point after the third game about the scenarios. So the third game was then
do like a code. You're like, oh, my dice are really unlucky today. That means kill that one.
Yeah, so like, I don't. You know what? I really hate Madrill. It's a stupid character. I'm just gonna go all out on him. No reason. Yeah. So the third game was No Escape.
Yeah.
So once again we were on top table. Luckily, because we were talking to Cameron and Dale at this point, who had also won both of their games with pretty decent victory points. It was basically going to the last game. We were on 2 wins. Cameron and Dale were on 2 wins. There were 2 brothers from I can't remember. Their names were Alistair and Rob, but I can't remember where they're from. They knew the Tysos quite well, so it was kind of around that area. They were on 2 wins, and then Johnny Wright and Ben were in 4th with a win and a draw. So we were like, please don't play Cameron and Dale. Please, because we don't want to go to a tournament and play against our friends.
Yeah.
Luckily, they were behind the other team by like 1 or 2 points, so we played them instead.
Oh, nice.
We were pretty happy about that. But No Escape is the primary forces are in the middle.
Yeah.
And then so my force is here. Ben's force then is at this board edge, and their force is at this board edge. We had Rohan Lothlorien.
Yeah.
They had Rohan Gondor. So both mounted forces started in the middle. Both forces started at the end. I charge in first turn. I kill 1 guy. They kill 5. We're instantly chasing the game.
Oh, dear God.
So that was pretty grim. And then, it in the end, the game ended with a 4-2 victory to them. But in hindsight, I threw the game. But we expected that Ben's elves were going to die a lot faster than they did. So we expected that we'd be broken. And was it something else? I think they managed to get the banner or something like that. I can't remember. But we were like, okay, we've probably lost if we keep playing as normal. So I did a incredibly risky play of heroic combating with Theoden and Elfhelm to charge into Éomer to try and kill Éomer, who then turned around and killed Theoden.
Excellent.
So, and if I hadn't done that, it would have been a draw. But this was about halfway through the game, and we were just like, this is our one chance to get onto Éomer to try and kill him. So it's like, we've got to go for it, otherwise we've lost because of the broken and stuff like that. Which in the end didn't happen. But yeah, that was that. So we lost that game and came 6th overall.
Okay, that's not bad.
So pretty happy. We just behind Ben Bailey's team because one of the so we had the exact same tournament points, exact same victory points. Then the next tiebreaker was leaders, and they'd killed 2 and we hadn't killed any.
Did you not kill any leaders?
I didn't kill a single leader. No.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And so we came 6th. And it was actually, so this was cash prizes.
Oh really?
Cash.
Oh, vouchers.
Yeah.
Guess
technically, but yeah, they were vouchers. So, which is kind of cool. So it was £40. I think it was 40, 30, 20, 10. So top 4 places got prizes.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. So at least it wasn't top 5. Otherwise, we'd missed out. Just at least we were 2 away from a prize.
Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's like overall, the atmosphere of the event was really good because once again, the only competitive teams were me, Ben, Calmandale, Johnny, and Ben.
Yeah.
But we weren't playing like massive. Like in the last game, because we were like just chatting away to the players and being like, "Oh, you could do this" type thing, because we were just not really minding about. It was more we were just there to play games.
Yeah.
Calman had just taken his Kazagard. Dale was sitting there because Calman needed a second player. They were just having banter with like their opponents and everything. So no one was taking it really seriously. So that was really good in that sense. So I think overall the event was really good. My issue with it isn't the event itself. It's the double scenarios.
Okay.
Because it might have just been because of the 3 we drew. But you go to a doubles tournament to play games with your friend. However, every single one of those scenarios, well, the first 2 scenarios, we were on opposite sides of the tables to each other because we had to deploy in separate corners. And then the other one, we had a force between us. So we were never fighting together. So we were never actually playing with our doubles partner throughout the event. So
but you're still talking tactics, though, aren't you? We
are, but only to an extent, because it's like, well, your elves are doing one thing and my Rohan are doing another thing. It's like, oh, he'd occasionally immobilize the model for me, but like, we weren't really, the forces weren't together. So it was never tactics in that sense. It was just a general, I'm going to try and kill these spears, or I'm going to focus on this bit, you focus on that bit. So we're just fighting in different areas. So it's kind of weird.
It's also difficult to discuss tactics openly because then your opponent.
The board as well,
yeah. But then if your armies are all together, I find if you're playing doubles, then one person normally takes control. Like,
what do you mean?
So say you had a Lothlorien foot force and a Rohan foot force fighting, like Rohan in the front, elves behind. I always find there's like one person will move pretty much like 75% of the models, maybe more.
But I feel
in
like
a partnership,
maybe. But then I feel like with that, it's more of you're still discussing it a bit more because you're both. Because like whoever's moving the Rohan is dictating where it's going, so the elf player will also get a say because it'll be like, oh no, we want to focus on this bit.
Yeah.
Whereas especially if they're the other side of the table, as CJ was saying, it's like I can't really see what's happening as well over there, type thing.
Yeah, I think it all
The
depends
scenarios
on.
were still good.
It depends on how you play it, and it does mean that you're both fighting your individual battles, but yeah, it's having an outcome on the final game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and just I
So
think so the final scenario was more of just like what happened in the first turn meant that I was running like away, so I didn't really fight with Ben. But the first two scenarios were kind of like a four-way game where you couldn't attack one of the other players. What it felt like. It might have just been my experience with those two games and just how things fell out, but it just felt a bit weird. I think me and Ben said it like after the games.
yeah,
It's like
I don't think the scenarios are that well written, to be honest. 3 of them require a banner for VPs, and virtually all of them, to a greater or lesser extent, are your primary forces are slammed in the middle doing some fighting, and then the secondary ones run to meet them enough so that you start to build a list around that idea.
but
you take
like
foot
Gethin,
force, one cavalry force.
like Gethin says, if you don't have a legendary legion, suddenly your cavalry force could be in the middle.
Like what happened with us in the last game, both cavalry in the middle,
like,
and Ben didn't have March, so
yeah. So yeah, I think they're interesting, and like you say, it's not necessarily a four-way game where you can't attack someone else because someone is on your side trying to help you out. Because, for example, if you hadn't have doubled up on one half of the force, or Ben hadn't anchored down in between those buildings, you wouldn't have been able to do what you did.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's tactically quite a wide. I don't know if it's a broader spectrum, but it involves you both kind of knowing what to do with your force.
I guess, but
because me and Clubley enjoyed the scenarios when we played them at Ardacon. We didn't play any of the ones you were talking about.
That might be why then, because those are the 3 where you split so much.
Yeah,
especially with it being opposite sides of the table, because it is basically I can. It's like as CJ was saying, like if I say to Ben, "Oh, move to this position," type thing, the enemy's going to know, and it's relying on your teammate to. You can do the general thing of, okay, my Rohan are going to go this. Like you can pull to the side and be like, okay, my Rohan's going to go this way. You pull in here, but it's relying on them to actually micromanage it the way that you're intended.
Yeah, but then why doesn't just one person play the whole army if you want to play it that way? If you know what I mean. Like it's double. I think doubles are always difficult to get right, regardless of the edition, the scenarios, whatever. Because one person will want to go, "Oh no, you need to do it this way," and someone will go, "No, you need to do it this way." And I think they've struck the balance relatively well. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but the fact that you take 2 separate lists, and sometimes you do have to fight apart, and it's more depicting real life.
I think in the sense
tactics,
of like
if you will,
how they've done the thing of having it as 2 different forces is good. I just didn't enjoy going for a doubles game with a like you are fighting on the same board, but you're not fighting together.
Yeah.
Was my issue with it, and it's like if I'm playing with doubles, I want to be doing that.
But then if you had two doubles armies, so one double side, let's call it that were both cavalry, and you were split in each corner, you would get together and fight one guy. So yeah, it could depend on the armies you were facing, etc. Like Leon says, if you're playing an army that can deploy together,
Michael's saying that the ones at Ardacon were good fun, and you seem to play the other 3 ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that might have been the thing. Yeah.
So
by the way, I just want to point out Michael had a nice comment for Gethin a little
oh yeah,
ago
I
up
must have
here.
missed that.
Is saying, may have said this before, but it was Gethin running Chester events, which was an important element in me starting to go to SBG tournaments.
And now,
There you go,
now Michael goes to all of them.
Yeah.
So it's your fault,
content.
Gethin, that we're affecting Michael.
I mean, I guess it's technically my fault that so many Chester people went. I guess for the same reason.
Yeah, sometimes if you manage to build a community, then that's that. He's got like 100 people to blame. He's got 100 people can blame him for getting into it. But yeah, no, I think some like the scenarios we played at Ardacon were one was you had to deploy your first warband within 6 inches of the middle.
The cornered one.
And then the other warband was Maelstrom.
Yeah.
Then the one was you keep track of both
leaders
of each half of your army, and it's like a contest with both leaders, and the one who's losing gets +1 to wound. Total conquest, cornered, and Clash of Champions with a 3, yes. And then the other one, cornered, you had one primary force in the middle, and then the opposing 2 halves round the outside.
Yep.
And then the other one is close to one of the board edges.
Within 3 inches of the board edge, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought they were really good.
So yeah, the 3 we didn't play.
Yeah.
So it could just be
because we took an all cavalry army, and like it was, and the cavalry means you're together pretty quickly. So yeah, it was good. We enjoyed it.
I'd just be with doubles, like there are many ways to play the game. So with the singles competitive, you can take it seriously and play it to as high a skill as you want. Down the bottom end, you've got narrative scenarios, or just sort of what they call it, open play, where it's just do whatever the hell you fancy. I think and then battle companies down that end, and doubles might just be you're doing something a bit strange and unusual, and it's a bit of a laugh to spend time with more people.
I think
it's definitely somewhere in the middle. I think
one of the points that you've actually just pointed out, Dewi, is actually one of the issues with the W scenarios, especially the ones that we played, in the sense of cavalry, because in a normal game, if I'm playing full cavalry against your foot army, you're going to be whatever I'm charging and stuff. You're going to be playing, right? You're still going to be playing it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I definitely know it. In 2 of the games, there was a force. Like the people we played in the last game, their previous game was against 2 foot armies, so they just completely ignored one of the armies and went for the other one. Which, like, that's playing the scenario. That's the smart thing to do. But then one player didn't get to play the game. He was just running across the battlefield, and then the game ended. He didn't even get like combat or anything. Which is an issue with them being split up. That's just a thing of, you've taken 2 foot armies, but there's so like I feel like the fact that you're splitting the forces is punishing so many armies if they don't take cav. Like they don't take a cav force.
But then in single scenarios, you can take.
But you still get to play.
Yeah, but you don't get to play. You don't get to play with your whole army.
True.
So yeah, it's like I say. I think it's a really tough one for them to like. Doubles is one of those weird things that I think the community asks for, but yet I don't know how interesting the team find it. Because our game is built around narrative scenarios. Like points matches is just completely irrelevant. they fall out of the narrative scenarios. If you look at any of the legions, if you look at special rules for characters, all that kind of stuff, all those special rules are all in narrative scenarios. They're not built for match play. They're built for narrative scenarios. So, like Men of the West, for example, the buff Aragorn have, like the +1 fight value or whatever, comes from one of the scenarios, and I'm sure in that scenario it is damn useful. But in a match play game, it's not. So, or the Legion isn't that useful. So it's trying to balance. Open play is completely irrelevant because that's just do whatever you want. Trying to balance profiles with narrative scenarios and match play, singles and doubles, and the scenarios written around it, I think is damn near impossible.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a pretty good job as it is.
I wonder how much time they actually put into the double scenarios, because they were creating those 6 brand new scenarios.
Yeah.
So for the match play guide, they made 12 scenarios.
Yeah.
That's obviously none of the scenarios are perfect, but it's like to get a scenario to be really balanced, you got to do a lot of play testing.
Oh god, yeah.
In theory, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be disappointed to hear that they put 75% of their time into the single player scenarios, and 25 into the doubles.
Yeah.
Because it's what the majority of people would play and want.
But even trying to get a doubles friendly game is difficult, let alone running a tournament. Which is why I'm amazed you had so many players. The element. It's
probably because it's been so long since
quite possibly.
People have played.
Quite possibly, but it's good to hear that there were so many players.
Well, the doubles I did was because it was like the first event after lockdown, and so many people signed up to the single, which would make it doubles then. So then we could get everyone in the hall.
Yeah. Like, and I don't think I've been to doubles tournament, bar like the ones that are badged onto Ilicon.
Into the GT, I went to the GT one with Dunhook Vale.
Oh yeah.
And that was with the normal single scenarios. It's kind of worked okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't know, but
and Josh a long time ago.
But yeah, I think it's like I said, I think they're as good as they can.
Yeah.
So but no. But how so event as a whole out of 10?
The event itself, probably like a 9 or something.
Just the scenarios.
Maybe an 8, because
you choked.
No. So he didn't have like a microphone or anything like that, so it's kind of hard to hear him at the start of the games sometimes, because obviously there's other people playing on the hall. So we're just on one side.
I've not been to Element, so I don't know. I assume it's just a big open space.
Yeah. Kind of. So there's some issues with hearing him, and also the boards were kind of lacking terrain.
Okay.
You had to get I was on top table the entire tournament, but so I don't know about the rest of the games. But so on the first table there was 4 walls and 4 buildings, and on the other table there were 4 buildings.
Okay, yeah,
it's kind of like
no trees or anything.
No, not really. Were some boards with a bit more, but the buildings were in a good place in the sense of
were they big?
They
enough
actually
as
came
well?
into like 6 inches
Okay.
long type thing, so not
decent.
like tiny. So it's like they were blocking areas.
Yeah.
So if we were fighting in the middle, which we were for 2 of the scenarios, because you have to be in the middle, they worked. But if it had been like, isn't there in the Total Conquest, there'd just been open ground fights.
Yeah.
With no terrain type thing. So
yeah.
I guess that'd be the only downside, which is surprising because it's Element Games. They've got a lot of terrain. There's like on the shelves behind us, there's just like tons of terrain. It's just like, can I put some on my board?
Yeah, fair enough.
it might have just been the element games limited how much you could use because we're only using a quarter of the gaming space, so they had to
Yeah,
allow for other
possibly.
people.
But you would have thought you kind of go, right, I've got enough buildings to make decent terrain for every board.
Yeah,
How strange.
I guess maybe because they probably have a lot more probably more 40k stuff.
Oh, gotcha. 4K terrain is
So
probably massive.
it might just be a limit on how much fantasy stuff they have.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever tried using terrain from a different game system, Lord of the Rings? Like you throw down on a
In a
40k
tournament,
board or
or
something? No, just in general. It's curious.
yeah, we used to back in the old store. So there
War.
was one table which was always ours unless someone took it first, and then we had to go on a 40k table.
I think Warcry terrain's pretty decent for Lord of the Rings, from what I can understand.
Yeah, I'm not thinking like in terms of an aesthetic, because obviously there's plasma cannons or whatever
Oh,
lying
right,
around in
yeah,
40k,
yeah.
but just for the fun of it, running around this futuristic hellscape with Uruk-hai or something.
I mean,
No,
was it
I've not looked at that. No, but that's funny.
It could be kind of fun playing a Battle Companies game on one of the old there was like a cities battle thing the 40k used to have, where it was supposed to be like 80% of the board was meant to be buildings and ruins and stuff with like multi floors.
Oh, Christ!
Like a bit like a necromunda type thing, being cool to run around with Battle Companies.
That'd be hilarious.
With like the bows and stuff, crossbows on top of buildings, watching like snipers.
Can you imagine getting to the 40k gaming center and just like, we want to set up a SPG tournament. We want you to use all the 40k terrain. Just everybody being thoroughly confused.
Just tank traps.
They would be so confused.
Tank traps in front of the Mumma kill.
Oh god, yeah, no Mumax.
Yeah.
I think Michael's got a great point as well here about running Ugluk scouts. And I mean, it's very thematic to have divided it. So one of you's got the Uruks and the other's got the Orcs. But yes, because you're split up a lot, you won't benefit from the animosity rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you get the Uruks to just literally leg it away and meet up with the other half. They move like 11 inches a turn or whatever.
There's two things that I realized from the tournament. So in the second game when we're playing against Blackgate opens, that list is actually pretty scary.
It's really good.
Because
it's really good.
If they just get two guys in contact with one of your guys, especially as cavalry, because you get less models, +1 to wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really good.
That's terrifying. And two, not enough people use Bash, especially against cavalry. Not enough
really
people
good, isn't it?
have Bash. It's so good against cavalry.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, there's not many things with hammers.
Pay a point for it.
No, you just pay a point for it. Like with the 600 points of Lake Town, I had 5 points going that literally couldn't be spent on anything. I'd given spears to all the bows. I'd given shields to all the spears. I'm going to give 5 guys hammers.
Yeah.
And then if they run into cav, they just bonk.
But like, if you're
especially
running...
like a hero or a fell beast.
Yeah.
If you're running Moran Orcs and you don't have that guy with a mace, you're just trolling. You've got to run those guys.
Yeah.
They're so good.
It's him and the guy with the axe as well.
The axe.
Yeah.
Nobody runs the swords.
No.
It's like Goblin Town. You want the axes, and no, that's literally it.
Yeah.
To be honest. You want the axe.
I'm tempted to get some Helmingers with hammers. Just to run around bashing people. Just because I didn't even... I mean, the fact that I didn't even know what Bash did properly. I knew it like knocked you off your horse. I didn't know it then straight knocked you prone. So you take a strength 3 hit straight away as well.
Oh god, yeah. Cavalry.
So it's just like first the Bash model goes first, attempts to knock you off. If you're knocked off, you take a strength 3 hit, and then everyone gets double attacks against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, especially if you're in something that's stuck with no cav. Or you're relying on traps to get kills like Easterlings or Minas Tirith even. You just give them hammers and suddenly you're putting stuff on the floor.
Yeah.
Much better.
I remember
run into banners, just don't even try and wound them, just try and knock them over.
Yeah. One of the Australian guys, I don't know if it was on a Green Dragon or it was one of their community, converted some Citadel Guard police. So it was just Citadel Guard models, but he'd obviously taken their weapons off them and just given them like a club, like a police truncheon, like an old school police truncheon. And
Like the Hobbit sheriffs.
yeah. And he said, it was just a bunch of sit guys go around just smacking people to the floor. And he said it was quite amusing. So yeah.
I get confused which weapons do bash and which
Oh
do
god,
stun.
yeah.
Stun is staffs. Staffs and sticks is stun.
Yeah, I thought it was clubs. So I thought, wouldn't a police truncheon be a
I
stun?
think clubs and
I
maces
can't
are
remember.
But then, yeah, maces
Bash.
are bash instead, even though functionally they do more or less the same thing.
Yeah, they do exactly the same thing. That's what
Let's
confuses me.
So bash is hammers, maces, and mauls. Stun is clubs and staffs. Okay, so a truncheon would have
What's
to
a
stun.
maul?
It's a two-handed.
A two-handed mace.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that why Darth Maul is called Darth Maul?
I have
Two-handed double blade.
no idea. No,
Okay.
I first heard
Maul is a big stick with a ball on the end.
Yeah, pretty much. The
Let's go with
first
that.
time I heard it was, and here's a throwback to the past, RuneScape.
Hell yeah.
RuneScape. And essentially their maul was a big stick with, like the stone on the end of Azul's flail?
Yeah.
Essentially that on the end of a big stick.
What's the difference between that and just a hammer? Big
Maul's generally two-handed.
A maul, so I think generally a maul is just the big stick with a bowling ball with spikes on it.
So what does Dwalin use? He's got a two-handed hammer, isn't he?
Yeah, as a hammer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Here's the question. Does anything in our game have a maul?
I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't think so.
Like specifically listed in war gear. I can't think of anything.
So what? It's two-handed with like a thing on the end to hit people with, but
Correct.
it's not a hammer.
Correct. It's essentially like a two-handed mace.
I like how I Google maul and it comes up with Darth Maul.
Oh, that reminds me. The guy who was running Blackguard of Barad-dûr with Gothmog as
I know
the
it is.
leader,
Wait,
that
what?
was a weird piece of... Why would you not go with Shagrat? Because Gothmog's rules don't benefit the Blackguard.
Yeah. They also did the army bonus didn't benefit either.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
so maul is actually just a two-handed hammer. It looks like what?
Yeah, pretty much.
What am I? Okay, so I'm thinking the gladiator style maul because a gladiator style maul is a ball with spikes. But
Yeah.
a
That's a maul, isn't it?
yeah,
And a
but this
mace is kind of like
one-handed.
Pepper spray.
But there's also pictures of mauls here, which is just two-handed, which are just warhammers.
Yeah, I was thinking, what Dane's got a hammer, but then it's got spikes on it as well, so double function.
His is definitely a hammer.
Yeah, I give up.
Yeah.
Maybe what's it? Stumpy? He's got spiky hands or something. I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I have no idea. No idea. That would be an interesting one to pose to the Middle-earth team. Like, why have you included mauls? No one has mauls.
Yeah.
So both has got a hand and a half hammer, the champion variable one.
Yeah.
That looks like the closest to a maul I've found. Barlin's got a two-handed mace. I just call out a maul.
Listeners, if somebody's got a maul, let us know.
We need maul.
Yeah.
If there's an American watching this, they're like, why do they need to go shopping? What?
Oh, God.
Oh dear.
Because there's two-handed maces, there's flails.
Oh, poor old
Both has
flail.
got a
Nobody's
mattock.
using those.
I did for a bit.
That's the one goblin in the set that you just practice your paint scheme on it.
I had wood elves with flails at one point because you could spear support. So you'd run a wood elf into two guys and then spear support him and get 3 attacks.
You're horrible.
5/5.
That's quite clever.
Stumpy has flails, surely. Let me see. I've got the army.
Yeah, I would say that.
Where
It's
is
still,
Stumpy?
oh God, it's
Stumpy.
still the biggest bone pick for me was they didn't bother to write a
Screaming.
decent rule set for the Witch King flail in this edition.
Yeah, he
It's like
still
you-
goes down to fight 1, doesn't he?
Yeah,
How's the keeper of a dungeon got a pick? That's not a pick.
it's got a hammer on the front. It's got spiky bits on the back.
Slayerman's got a mace. Kamal's got a mace. Where is Stumpy? Where are you hiding?
Is
Well,
in
guess
is in
literally
is in as of
He has
season.
flails.
Yeah, I would say
Mm.
it's flails.
Wait,
So can you
does that mean
flail
he
with
can whirl?
Yeah.
Stumpy
Oh my God.
Stumpy can whirl. Oh,
He is fight 5, so you're gonna have to fight 1.
game
But
changer.
you can hit everything.
Game changer. Isn't he like 3 attacks base anyway?
Yes.
Yeah. So it would never ever be worth
Great Bad Troll's
bothering
got a
with,
massive
but-
club.
Oh, because he's only like defense 5 or something silly.
Where is this mall? If anyone finds a mall, then Alistair will buy you a Freddo.
Yeah. Or
I
give you a
don't know why I
grim,
said Alistair instead of Ali.
or give you a Grimhammer. One of the two.
Oof.
Oh dear. Anyways,
Given that they went to the trouble of putting it in the book, I find it amazing to believe there isn't
Maybe it's
one
just
in the whole
future
range.
proofing.
Oh god, yeah.
I have no idea.
Moving on with our lives.
Yeah.
So we've got the book up here. They've
That's
also got in Whirl, it's flails, whips, and scourges.
What's a scourge? No, I don't want to know. We're moving.
You asked the question.
It was out of my mouth before. I
Okay, so a
thought, yeah.
scourge is basically the whip that they used to use. A whip with multiple tendrils is basically a
After
scourge.
Nine Tails.
Okay.
It's like the ones that they used to use for.
Does Grinner
Slave
have a
driver.
scourge then?
Grinner. Let's see, I've got.
Grin, yeah, he's got a two-pronged. I think it
Two-pronged
technically
whip.
just counts as a whip, but anyway.
Oh, he's got one. He's got a scourge.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Oh, that could have been one
There
of
you
the best
go.
pub quiz questions over the last
Yeah.
year, couldn't it? He's the only
go.
bastard with a scourge.
Hopefully that comes up at the Wormwood. What's it called?
Sure.
The Green Dragon.
So if someone has a scourge, someone must have a mole.
Surely, yeah.
But I honestly cannot think of anything that would have one. The dwarves would be my bet. Thorin's company or champions, but they don't.
No, because the maces, they put them as hammers or maces.
Or staffs.
Stuff.
Yeah, Floyd was the closest thing I could think of, where he's just got a blunt thing on the end of a stick, but
Yeah.
it's a staff, really, isn't it?
Because the war priest has got a battle stave, I think it's called.
What does a walking stick count as?
Yeah.
No,
walking sticks.
Lavinia specifically has an umbrella,
Yeah.
Oh,
which she
top
can't.
10 obscure weapons in the
Yeah.
game. Umbrella.
What about this guy?
It would just be like Tom Bombadil's entry.
Golfumble's got a mace.
So it's an Easterling battle stave, which can be used as a spear or a two-handed axe.
Hold me back.
Yeah. Hold me back.
Same as the
said Shaman.
the Mumuk war leader, whatever he is, the royal.
He has a
Mimik,
long-bladed spear.
Yeah, he's got either a spear or a two-handed. Yeah.
A two-handed.
Well, it's
so-
Axemen and Lossanuk are like that, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got they can either use it as a spear or a two-handed weapon, and
I'm just gonna.
and they have a dagger.
I'm just Control Fing all the PDFs.
Christ's sake. Open my mouth.
I can't think of anyone who has a big bashing stick.
Oh,
I genuinely.
English press.
Claws and teeth. No, there's been nothing. No prowlers. No. God, this is not. I really want. There's something must have a mole. I genuinely cannot think of anything that has a mole.
I'm not quite sure what Michael's up to. If only male ingenuity with weapons could be harnessed in less destructive ways. As oxymoronic, surely the weapon is for
Bashing.
race of doggled. No,
I
I
don't
think
think so.
Gethin's better look at those.
They have like what is it like the trident spear? They've got two-handed mace things. They've got two-handed
It's 200 maces,
blades,
yeah.
elven blades,
So, I think this is
and swords and axes. They don't have. Oh dear. Right. I'm going to draw this to a close because otherwise we're going to be here for ages just thinking of random
I
stuff.
got 2 books to search through.
You got 2 books to search through.
Yeah. Hobbit and then Gondor. So just talk for a bit.
CJ, have you lost the will to live with Geffen searching for moles?
I've got a full bladder and I just want to go.
Just got to search for Gondor or War. I can't see the being anything.
20 minutes looking for Darth Maul in the book.
Oh
You
dear.
question what you're doing with your life at some point.
Yeah.
How do you think Josh feels?
Oh dear.
He's known me for like 10+ years.
Oh god. Yeah. So while Geffen is doing that, we will hopefully be back on the 19th of October.
Okay.
It is all dependent on my situation. I will reiterate again.
Yes.
I am due to become a father for the first time, which is a terrifying thing to say.
I was going to say, like, I could see in your eyes as you were saying that you were trying to comprehend what you were about to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a dad. What?
Yeah, I know. So our due date is on the 30th of October. So anything could happen. Essentially between now and end of November. That's just how it goes. So we're taking it each day as it comes, and we will go from there. So hopefully there'll be one in 2 weeks. If there's not, it'll probably be for a pretty good reason.
Fair enough.
I guess if it's not, there probably won't be one for a bit.
Yeah, there might be a bit of a break.
Your kid take priority.
Oh yeah, there might be a bit of a break, but no, I'll have. I'm planning to take like 3 weeks paternity leave. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to start it up again pretty soon. Might have to wait till December or even the New Year because it'll just be maybe it'll be a little bit easier. But no,
I've enjoyed these.
Yeah, we'll still be putting out stuff, even if it's. I'd like to think I'd get a Tuesday every 2 weeks, but we will see.
Just got to milk those brownie points.
We will see. Yeah, it all comes down to how I'm feeling, how Chloe's feeling, how baby is, all that kind of stuff. It's all whatever. So.
Do you know
take a picture of you now and then compare it to the next time you with haggard look and black eyes and
grey beard.
Yeah.
Don't have children, put age on you.
Yeah.
No, I imagine it is exciting as much as it is terrifying.
Yeah, it's very strange. Obviously, not carrying said child. It's kind of like cool. Yeah, you get this stuff, and
I was gonna say there's like you don't really have much until the child's born.
You do your bit, and then you do your next bit 9 months later.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's obviously bits and pieces in between for support and whatever, but yeah, it can be a bit weird. But
you should write Ladybird books. Do your bit, then you do another bit 9 months later.
Yeah. So,
Birds and the bees.
So
right.
So fingers crossed we will have one in 2 weeks. And maybe not. Ali will be back. Who knows? But anyways, thank you for joining us this evening, and thanks for all the responses in the chat. It's been good to have a lot of interaction.
I can confirm that there are 0 moles in the game.
There are 0 moles. Excellent.
Unless Adobe is lying to me.
Okay. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, we will hopefully see you in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, during that stream I might have to just run out. Who knows? But yeah, so we will hopefully see you in 2 weeks. And if you've got any more ideas for Time Top 5, drop them below in the comments. But